What is going on? Second channel people, how are you guys doing? Today I have a special guest with me, a man, Agro.
Hey, how's it going? It's a pleasure to be here.
I want to talk to you guys about, well, you guys have seen it a little bit on this channel. You've heard me talk about that Steemit website. Well, Agro is of Steemit, so I wanted to have him on here to kind of give you guys a little bit more insight, because he definitely knows a lot more than me. He's been on the site for a lot longer than me, and he's definitely like super deep into it. So before we get into anything else, for those of you who have never heard of Steemit before, I would like you to introduce yourself a little bit,
Sure.
And then also just kind of give a little brief synopsis.
Hey guys, my name is Agrod. I've been on the Steam website, or the Steemit.com website, since August of last year. I started with absolutely no knowledge of crypto, didn't know anything about it, not a programmer, not a dev. I had done social media for a couple years, mostly through Facebook, and I got frustrated because I got kicked off of Facebook a couple times for being a political activist, and it was frustrating. And I found Steem. It was this weird thing. It was a way that they could both issue a cryptocurrency but also do social media. And I didn't fully understand that at first, but essentially when you create content and you put it on Steem, you can get paid for that. And I started with nothing and knowing nothing and having no money invested. Now you can see on my account there's over $300,000 of Steem that are on there. I've been pretty successful, and I'm even now an elected official on the blockchain, and we call these people witnesses. And I'm a witness, and my goal is, I have three simple goals: spread the values of peace, abundance, and liberty, grow the Steem ecosystem as a whole, and help train and retain new members on the blockchain that we call minnows.
And so like the idea is minnows would be the first person to join, like when you're a brand new user, and it goes up through dolphins, and then the big ass users are like whales, and they hold a lot of vested power in the website and can also give you a lot of value when they vote for your stuff. So like for people who have never heard about this before, you can make decent money on this, right?
I mean, I've made an absurd amount of money. Like $300,000 in a year and a half is good for anything, let alone like crazy crypto internet money. But you know, the part of this is that one unit or one token or one crypto dollar in Steem is worth like $4 US. So the value that we have is actually higher. It's like, you know, when I'm in America and I live in America, I feel like money that I spend is sort of like spending pesos in Mexico now, right? Because the dollar, or the value of our currency, is just so much stronger. And that's part of where that value comes from, is that, you know, we don't issue 160 million brand new tokens a day like the United States government does. We issue something like 26, 27 million a year, and that's it. So we're not completely deflationary, but for practical purposes, compared to the government currencies, we're almost entirely deflationary, and that's part of why our currencies are so freaking strong across all of crypto land, as opposed to governments, which are like racing one another to devalue their currency as quickly as possible.
True. And if, like, so many of us put so much faith in the US dollar, when you start looking at it, especially when you get onto things like Steem and stuff, and it starts opening your mind into this, you start looking into it, you actually find out that the US dollar is like the 5th version of the US dollar that's been reissued. It failed. They started a new one, it failed. So it's not like the US dollar is the end all be all, which is generally how a lot of us Americans think. If you're interested in this kind of stuff, like looking at how inflation changes the amount of value that you actually have earned, and then in 5 years that value you've earned is now dropped dramatically. If you're interested in looking at this kind of stuff, Steemit's a really good way to, like, as a novice, really kind of start understanding the waters and testing them a little bit.
Well, in part, it doesn't take any investment. I mean, I have all this money that I've built, but it's been through effort and helping the platform and getting rewarded for it. You know, I at one point I had put in $5,000, and I took that money out because I was trying to figure out, you know, can I actually convert between fiat and crypto and crypto back? And I could, but it, you know, in all of these other tokens, you usually have to take a lot of money and invest it.
That's a good point.
Steem is one of these great gateways into cryptocurrency, because we're all used to social media, and Steem has some weird parts to how you do it, but essentially it's social media like Blogspot or like Reddit or like maybe not quite like Twitter, but it's in that realm of Facebook, Twitter. So you're sort of familiar with that, but it doesn't cost anything to get started. You can just start earning it, which is different than all the other cryptocurrencies. So for a lot of people, Steem ends up being a gateway from fiat currencies, meaning that they're backed by nothing, that they're issued by governments. You know, they used to be gold backed. You know, back in the 70s, I could take $1 and I could take it to a bank and I'd say, please give me gold for this, and they would. And now I'd take it to them and say, please give me gold, and they'd look at me like I had two heads, right? Because they're not backed by anything. But in crypto land, you know, it's just a different system. It works differently. They tend to have significantly more value, and at least with Steem, you don't have to start with any of it to get involved, get invested, and learn about this ecosystem.
Yeah, that's one of the parts that I think is really interesting too, because a lot of people will hear you talking about some cryptocurrency and then they want you to buy into it because it's coming out soon or something. So obviously you have a lot of defense, and it's like, well, I'm not going to put my $2,000 that took me, you know, 2 months to earn or whatever. All this literally takes is the time for you to write the posts or create the content itself, but it doesn't cost any actual financial first overhead, which is definitely my reason for getting into the site. And then as I started to earn, did exactly what you said, I earned my Steem dollars, right? And then I was like, okay, that's cool, but does this actually translate? Can I turn this into US
like
money?
A mortgage payment? Can I pay my mortgage with this?
Exactly. And you freaking can.
Yeah, there's websites like Coinbase that you can go take Steem currency or other types of cryptocurrency, trade them for one of the major coins, and then through Coinbase convert those from cryptocurrencies into US dollars.
Even on my, I'm relatively new, I'm probably like 2.5 months into this. Even with just what we've done already, I've been able to average over 100 Steem dollars a week, which translates to somewhere around, you know, 300 to 500 a month. And at the moment right now, Steem dollars, I think this morning was like $4.60 or something like that. So you do the math on that, that's crazy. I mean,
100 Steem dollars a week is like $500 a week.
That's crazy.
It's like $2,000 a month.
If you compare that to the average YouTube, you know, just advertisement model, that's a lot more. That's a lot more for the same amount of time invested. So that's why, for me, it's really interesting as a content creator.
And you don't have to give that up either, right? Like,
that's true.
You know, I represent or try to represent Steem to the best of my ability. I tried to make a nice welcome for you to the best of my ability, and I at no point did I say stop using YouTube. Like, you know, the basic gist of this is you put your newest content, like your brand new content, you can put that on Steem, and you can still archive everything on the other major social media sites, and you can still get paid, you can still get ad revenue for the stuff that you've done, but you know, you just put new content on Steem first, and you know, you double dip in some ways for the same content, like you just earn more. And
then naturally what happens when you double dip, you see that the second dip you did was actually really good. And then you start making original content for DTube, which is Steemit's version of YouTube, which is what I've started doing. So like if you guys ever want to see more content from me, I actually create content that you guys probably never seen on the first or the second channel for Steemit, just because, again, the incentive is such a good incentive.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that somebody can go click a button and upvote you and then transfer hundreds of dollars that way. But that's how this thing works. And that's shocking, that's weird, but you know, in the not too distant past, I've pulled out thousands of dollars from this thing. I mean, it's real, it's legit, and it's paying my mortgage. Like, I quit my job to do this full time, and I you know, Brian, I hope is going to be at that stage here soon enough.
Hoping.
I mean, you know, it took me 1.5 years, and part of my goal as being a witness is to try to make it as easy for the people that come after me to do that as quickly as possible. And it's not like you stop working, you just have this other way of interacting with people. You have a different currency, you put in different type of work, but it's not the same monotonous, do the same job over and over again, corporate crap hole existence. It's creativity, it's adding value to the blockchain through novel content or building communities, or like you're going to create music videos and get paid for those, or write some novel blog or literature and get paid for those. And it still remains shocking to a lot of people that can earn money, but that's how Steemit.com works, and it literally pays more than most hourly wage jobs. I mean, unless you have like a full professional degree, you're probably earning more after like a couple months on Steemit than you would, certainly as like a bartender or like doing construction or something. True. Like you earn more here, and that's shocking, but it's awesome, and it doesn't take all that long to get to a stage where you have that ability.
Right. I have a friend who, you guys know him, Kurt. He's a musician, so that's what he does like for his full-time job. He gigs at places, does weddings, does spars, and plays there. But recently he's run into a little bit of money trouble because his car broke down, so he was doing good monthly until like a random expense came up, and so he had to take a real job. He like babysits people with disabilities and stuff. But he doesn't want to have to work at a physical place. So I was like, bro, you should join Steemit and try it. I know you suck at computers and you hate doing digital stuff, but you already create music, you already create creative content. You might as well post it and stuff. And so I got him, after a while, because there's a little bit of a learning curve. After he got into it, he started posting, and so he's been able to average something like 300 to 600, depending on how lazy he's being, a month of US money. And for him, like, you know, compared to his regular job, like one day he had a good post go up and he was like, dude, that's 4 days worth of me working every day from the morning until like mid-afternoon. I was like, exactly, dude. Yeah. And so it just sounds crazy, and it also sounds like something, that was a good point that you made, it sounds like something that you can only do if you like have a huge YouTube channel or are like a witness.
I've done it for a year and a half or something.
Right.
You know, it changes the scale.
Exactly. The proportion is different.
But the way that a lot of people start off and they're successful, they have their full-time job and they're like, oh, I'll dabble in this Steam thing. And just like any other business, it doesn't immediately give them a Lambo. It doesn't immediately pay off their mortgage. But,
right.
You know, you got to put in work, and it's hard, and you got to go build up an audience. But, you know, after a couple months, you start realizing, like, hey, I make more posting once a day than I do doing the full-time job that I have for that day. If I quit my job and I just do 2 posts a day, I'll actually make more money, spend less time working, and have a higher quality of life than working for somebody else who I don't necessarily care for, and then these like corporate policies and all this HR crap. I'm just my own boss and having a nice crypto life.
Yep.
Like, it takes a while. You can't do it on day one. It's like any other startup business that you're gonna do, but you know, you build a community, you find some people that need your skills and or that really like your content, and you basically sell them entertainment. And entertainment is one of like the highest paid activities on this entire planet. Mm-hmm. And as a result, you make some real money doing this. Yeah.
And for me, as you guys know, I have a personal issue. Just personally, it's hard for me to work with authority. Like, it's hard for me to have someone tell me what to do, and it's hard for me to put effort into something that doesn't build anything in the long run for me.
You gotta own it. You have to have equity. Totally agree.
Right. And so like this just lined up perfectly, right? Like having a YouTube and creating your own brand and stuff is literally what this is just on Steemit. You build your personal brand. You have people follow you. The more people you have following you, as those people grow over the years, as you're growing, those people who are following you are still upvoting you, but maybe they have now 10 times the value they used to have. So instead of giving you a penny, they give you 10 cents. Some people used to give 10 cents, now give you $1. Some people gave you $1 and give you $10 or $100. You know, and I feel like personally, of course, it's all who knows what's going to happen in the future. I think personally, like, if you've been on here for 5 years in the future, you're gonna have this huge group of followers who aren't minnows anymore, they're all dolphins.
Yep.
And so you have this huge group, and they're a huge group of dolphins.
So one of the ways that I became an elected official on this platform is I built this thing called the Minnow Support Project. And we now have 15,000 members that are part of that. We grow by a little over 1,000 per week right now. But we attracted all these like moderators and people that wanted to help run this channel and run projects within this, and I told them, like, it's about 6 to 8 months ago, and I said, look, you know, right now the people that are getting involved are going to be minnows, and we don't have a lot to offer one another, but 6 months, 8 months from now, we're all going to be at the next stage. You guys are going to have thousands of Steam power, which is going to be worth, like, right now, you know, 2,000 Steam power, 3,000 Steam power, something like that is worth $10,000. Mm-hmm. And, you know, again, the hardest part is right at the beginning, but a lot of these people that joined, they've come to me and said, hey, Agrode, I'm now up to like 5,000 Steam power. I got people that have made $25,000 doing this part-time, and they feel really good about what they've done, what they've created. It's liberating, and they keep growing. So like there's a pathway where you can look forward and say, you know, especially once, right now we're in like a Bitcoin correction, and that's suppressing all the prices of all these coins. When Bitcoin goes back up, you could have Steam be worth, you know, $10, $20. And when that happens and you get, you know, you get a measly 10 Steam for your post, well, that's $100 on a single post, and you might get that from one person voting for you. Right. I mean, this stuff starts adding up pretty quickly. And so, it's a little volatile, and that causes some complications. But man, it's just, there's so much potential here. There's so much value here, and it's so liberating. Like, I've worked in corporate America. I had a job with a Fortune 500 style, multi-billion-dollar per year company, and I didn't hate every aspect of it. There were parts that were nice, but I'd rather sit at my desk and stay at home with my wife and kids and not travel and do all this corporate stuff. And Steem has afforded that for me.
Right. And you can just come up with your own ideas and then make those projects happen. And the more that you've been on the site, the more influence you have, the more friends you have, the more possible it is to make these projects happen, which is really cool. Like, for example, just on a personal note, I've brought on like a couple of my friends, and they've made a bunch of money off of it. I have Chelsea Lifts, Eric the Electric, Maddie Limburner, all those people have joined, started posting, and they've all seen a lot of success with their stuff. And like, literally, it was just because I felt like starting bringing my YouTube friends in, and luckily I have friends on the site who have a lot of value and stuff. But then it makes it so that you can like literally just have creative ideas and make it happen. Like you were just talking about, obviously it's not something that's gonna happen soon, but like down the line when a lot of value has been brought and stuff, maybe doing like a Steemit retreat for a bunch of people.
Oh yeah, so one of my goals is I wanna go create like Steem Camp. Camp is one of the best experiences I ever had in my life. I live up in New England. There are summer camps that you can rent for a week for a couple $1,000s, which sounds like an awful lot of money, but in Steem, right now for me, that's like, I don't know, 10 posts or something.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's insane. But I've been here a year and a half, and I've helped build a lot of community, so I get a lot of support. But I'm hoping to go sponsor a camp that people that are on Steem can just come up to, spend a week at a summer camp, but be grown-ups at a summer camp. How fun would that be?
Epic, man.
It would be awesome.
Some of the other projects that people are doing, sorry, I mean to cut you off.
Go for it.
But like, it's great for me because I've always talked to you guys about how in the future, when I get in a financially stable position, I want to go to other countries and find something that I can solve for people because of the financial position I'm in. I already see people on Steemit where they're like, yo, me and 30 of my Nigerian people like met in this building. We had a Steem meetup, and I introduced all these people, and now all of them are on site. And I'll see like these people from Nigeria come and comment on my thing, and they're posting stuff about their backyard or whatever, and they're earning like 15 cents on their post. But then that turns into Steem dollars, and for them that's like a ton of money. It's like this huge opportunity. So it's cool to me just because by supporting the website and having the website be success, all these people from countries where there's not really another option, right? Like there's that job and it kind of sucks, and there's not really, it's not you're gonna become a YouTube star, but you can join Steemit, and then these people can start making money on the side of whatever job they're already working, and you can literally like bring wealth to these people that in previous times had literally no other option to make wealth happen. That's freaking cool. To me, that's really cool.
It was hard to transact too, like I've hired a lot of artists, and if I'm trying to go transfer US dollars into like African countries to go buy African art, there's layers to that. It's not low, let's just make that happen. It's like you need specialized websites and really tons of trust and all that. Right. But there's a lot of that built into Steem. Steem has a number that's called your reputation. If you have a reputation that gets high enough, people can start trusting that you have a long-term interest in this place. They're probably not going to scam you. You can start doing business with them, and in ways that like, there's a lot of like the Nigerian princess scams going along, and I would get nervous like, do I actually want to send money to this Nigerian? Maybe I'm just being scammed. Steem takes away some of that and also takes away some of the difficulty. And now I have the ability to go transact with people around the world to get the sort of talent, skills, needs, or whatever that I have for the projects that I'm working on. They can get labor that is like, to me, it's super cheap. To them, it's like way overvalued.
Massively.
And collectively, people are happy and projects get done. The ecosystem expands. It makes the Steem worth more money, and just all these good things are happening. My account number is 54,000. We're up to like 730,000 accounts now, maybe even more. And that's in like a year and a half. We're seeing more than 10x growth in a year. That's pretty freaking good. And as we grow, as more people are here, as more Brians are here saying, hey, friend, join, and there's more people doing that, this thing is just going to grow exponentially. And as it grows exponentially, it's going to be worth more because more people are going to want to hold the same number of limited tokens. And And so now is like a really phenomenal time to join the platform, to start and get going now before, we haven't even broken a million accounts. A million sounds like a lot, but in social media world, that's still pretty small,
Right.
Facebook has 1 billion users, so we're under 1 million. There's some room left to grow here.
Right.
So if I would just encourage the people that are listening to this to go to Steemit.com, do the sign up process, come join us. You can put comments on at Brian Turner. You can put comments on at Agrode and tell us that you listened to this, and we can re-steam you and help your introduction post. And without putting out any money, you can experience, hey, will this thing work for me? Do I like it? Is it worth my time? And maybe you only make $10 or something on your first post, but when you realize, like, hey, all I did was post, and I sat in my boxers at my computer chair and I typed out a little intro and took a picture, and that's all it took, and now I'm starting to get value just by being here and just by interacting with people and just for being a human that's engaged in this system.
Yeah.
That's quite nice.
Pretty awesome.
It's pretty amazing.
And you start to replace your scrolling time, when you take those 5 minutes while you're pooping or whatever, and you're scrolling Facebook, and you're not watching anything that you're actually trying to look at. It's just doing it for you. I started just naturally being like, I want to scroll Steemit instead. And so you're already wasting time, an hour every day on Instagram. You might as well spend an hour on this site. And you might as well just make that Facebook, rant about how you don't like this or that about the government or the people around you or something. Make that on Steemit. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And as you go, I think it'll get a little bit more exciting. But we're not forcing you to do anything. I just like to bring this information up to you guys. As you know, I do try to teach you guys like a lot of entrepreneurial habits, how to make money on your own, how to escape the 9-to-5 and stuff. I hate all that kind of stuff where you cage down to something that you don't want to do. So this is literally just me showing you one of the ways that I have actually tangibly succeeded at this. This isn't just something that I'm thinking about. This is something that we're making thousands of dollars every month off of.
And it's like a real part of your income now, right?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
This counts. It's not like, $50 for an American isn't going to like change your lifestyle or change your world, but when you're up to like $1,000-$2,000 per month, that is kind of the sustainable revenue that not only are you taking money out, but you're still growing your account, you're growing your followers, you're growing all the things that you're doing. Like it's just staggering that in 1 month I took out some $20,000 or more to go like cover my costs, and I just had all this housework. I needed roofing repair. I needed I forget all the other things. And even
stripper bowl.
Yeah, even while I took out 20 to 30 grand, my account still grew. It still went up. That was like shocking. It is some absurd amount of money that it's even hard to comprehend. But that's what these cryptocurrencies do. And if you can't wrap your head around that, Albert Einstein was asked, "What's the most powerful force in nature?" And he said, I'm about to forget the word. I'm sorry that I swore on your channel.
It's okay. I do it all the time.
But it's something like I think he said inflation, but it's just seeing or compound interest is what he said. It's compound interest, and so that was like this most powerful force to him. And I would put inflation and sort of compound inflation is this thing that sucks wealth out of all of us. When the government, back in 2008, the United States government printed $16 to $23 trillion, and it didn't go to Main Street. It didn't even go to Wall Street. It went to foreign banks mostly. And that does not help any of us, right? That makes it so that when I go to Target and I try to buy eggs, they're now 50 cents more. It makes it so that the money that I have in my saving account is now worth less. So, the real delta here, the difference that we want to look at is not just that like cryptocurrencies are good, but just how weak the United States dollar is becoming is actually fueling the growth of these cryptocurrencies. Just the near infinite amount of inflation that's happening to the US dollar and their willingness to print $160 million a day, 23 trillion in a single year, that's devaluing it. And over here we have Steam where, maybe 27 million in an entire year, like the entire year, that's all the new stuff that they print. It means that when I go to the grocery store a year from now with the same amount of Steam, I'm going to be able to purchase more groceries. Right. So like, when I was a kid, you'd fill up like an entire grocery cart and you'd pay it $100. Now you fill up a grocery cart and you pay $400.
Right.
Well, imagine if it worked the other way, where like right now I fill up a grocery cart with like 10 Steem, but a year from now it only cost me like 8 or 7. Like, it's shocking to think about. You know, it might be boring to some because schools will teach us that math is boring and doing math is dull, but you know, if there's anything that's super powerful in general about all these cryptocurrencies, is that they generally tend towards not entirely deflationary, but highly deflationary, which is really good for the users and the consumers of these coins, as opposed to the US dollar, which is basically infinitely inflationary, like all these other government currencies, where they are literally racing one another to print as much of this as they can. That's what those currency wars are all about. Right. But it sucks value out of us.
And like you're saying, it is boring for a lot of people to hear like the words inflation and, you know, interest and stuff like that. But it's like how it should be. Like if there was literally 100 people here and we all had a certain amount of gold coins on the table and we all got a certain amount of them, and then another 100 people joined in next year and we didn't put out more gold coins, we would all make all those gold coins twice as valuable.
Yeah.
It's weird, yeah, that like we have more people coming into America because we're having kids and stuff like that, and yet we're losing value in our money.
Yeah, and that's because they just keep printing it. And they do that because, like, you know, those central bankers that print it, they're the ones that get the advantage. When they print $23 trillion and they give it out to all their friends, you know, that didn't hurt them. That helped them with $23 trillion.
Right.
But for everybody else in this ecosystem, we all got screwed. We all lost value in our accounts. And part of what I like so much about blockchain is that there's rules for this, and it's not centralized. If Brian wants to go print 25 million more Steem tomorrow, there's no mechanism to do that. Even me as a witness, as one of the top 20 people that's an elected official, I can't do that. There's not a way to just in a centralized way print more. It's built into the rules. We all know how the money gets printed. We all know how it gets distributed, and you can't break that. And it's been working for, you know, nearly a decade now. So we're pretty confident that this is a good system that creates wealth for all of us in a healthy deflationary way, where the money that I have in my savings account now in crypto is going to buy more groceries a year from now. You know, there's ups and downs in the prices. These things are volatile, but you know, the line goes like this, where it's, you know, it's generally trending up, and at any given time it might be above or below that line, but it's generally going up. So, you know, you got to time the market a little bit, but you know, the cycle right now is 2 months, so it's not like you have to wait 5 years for this. You know, you're going to get a market high in 2 months, a market low in 2 months, and it seems to repeat. And even there's money you can make. Like, if you're willing to pay attention to these markets, you're saying like, oh, this is an all-time high. Now I sell. Oh, this reminds me of the low that we had 2 months ago. Now I'll buy. You know, like,
it's great because it teaches you like how the stock market works. You wouldn't learn that on your own if you weren't already a big investor and stuff, but this is a good way to like dip your toes into that. But it also teaches you how how money works, not only how to create money and how to spend money, but how does that money actually work, and where can you hold your money in the best position so that you can make that money work back for you, instead of always just earning money. How can you make that money also earn you money on its own? But I think that we'll stop there, because I know your minds are racking.
This could go on forever.
The passion that goes between us with cryptocurrencies and a bunch of other topics is insane. So we could probably fill up like 3-hour SD card with this. But I wanted to put this out on the channel so that you guys could not hear it from me, because I know you guys have heard a little bit of it from me, but I wanted you guys to hear it from somebody who has a little bit of a better grasp on this and has a little bit more to say about it, and a little bit more like depthful ideas about it, and also somebody who's like ranked really high in it. I definitely think you guys should check it out. Again, if you don't want to, you don't have to. There's a lot of people who you probably know from YouTube who are on it.